A Niche Job Website Guide 1. Chapter 1. A Niche Job Website Guide 1. Jobs.localjobnetwork.com is a big job website. Jobs.localjobnetwork.com. Jobs.localjobnetwork.com/employment-resources, articles. Jobs.localjobnetwork.com/employment-resources/job-search-tools. Find.jobs, the website, browse jobs by location and sector. You can click one of these sectors. Accounting jobs, administration jobs, advertising jobs, banking jobs, customer service jobs, community and sport jobs, construction jobs, consulting jobs, education jobs, engineering jobs, executive position jobs, government and defense jobs, healthcare and medical jobs, hospitality and tourism jobs, HR/recruitment jobs, IT and communications jobs, insurance jobs, legal jobs, manufacturing jobs, mining/oil/gas jobs, primary industry jobs, real estate and property jobs, retail jobs, sales and marketing jobs, science and technology jobs, self-employment jobs, trades and services jobs, transport and logistics jobs. Jobhill.com, click on a job field for job postings. A. Academic jobs, accounting jobs, staff accountant jobs, accounts receivables jobs, accounting clerk jobs, administrative jobs, administrative assistant jobs, executive assistant jobs, advertising jobs, agriculture jobs, airport jobs, amusement park jobs, analyst jobs, animal jobs, work with animals, animal hospital jobs, arborist jobs, architecture jobs, article writing jobs, artificial intelligence jobs, ASP jobs, assembling jobs, association jobs, audio-visual jobs/AV jobs, auto industry jobs, auto sales jobs, auto technician jobs. B. Banking jobs, bank teller jobs, bartending jobs, beach jobs, beautician jobs, beauty industry jobs, biostatistician jobs, biotech jobs, billing and medical billing jobs, bilingual jobs, boat jobs, bond jobs, bookkeeping, real estate broker jobs, building industry jobs, bus driver jobs. C. Cable jobs, CAD jobs, calibration jobs, carpenter jobs, car rental jobs, car sales jobs, car sales manager jobs, CDL driver jobs, CAT scan jobs, cellular/wireless, certified welder, chemical industry, child care jobs, Christmas jobs, clothing jobs, clerical jobs, COBOL jobs, collection jobs, compliance jobs, computer jobs, confidential jobs, controller jobs, construction jobs, convenience store jobs, cook jobs/cooking jobs, credit risk jobs, CS jobs, customer service jobs, CSM customer service manager jobs. D. Database jobs, data processing jobs, daycare jobs, defense industry jobs, delivery driver jobs, delivery jobs, pizza, dental jobs, dental assistant jobs, dental hygienist jobs, dental technician jobs, dispatching/dispatcher, distribution jobs, director jobs, doc jobs, doctor jobs, drafting jobs, Driver jobs / trucking jobs. Driver, CDL jobs. Driver, hazmat jobs. Driver, delivery jobs. Drive jobs. E-marketing jobs. Editor jobs. Education jobs. Elder care jobs. Electrician and electrical jobs. Electronics assembler jobs. Elevator jobs. Embedded systems jobs. Emergency jobs. Engineer jobs. Engineer, mechanical jobs. Engineer / network engineer jobs. Environmental jobs. Evening shift jobs. Event planner jobs. Executive jobs. Executive assistant jobs. Executive chef jobs. Eye care jobs. F. Fashion jobs. Fast food jobs. Film industry jobs. Financial analyst jobs. Financial planner jobs. Florist jobs. Food service jobs. Forestry jobs. Fun jobs. Furniture jobs. G. Game developer jobs. Gas station jobs. General manager jobs. Glass industry jobs. Glazier jobs. Golf course jobs. Green jobs. Green environmental jobs. Green, horticulture jobs. Greenhouse jobs. Grocery store jobs. HVAC jobs. Hairstylist jobs. Hazmat driver jobs. Healthcare jobs. Holiday season jobs. Hollywood jobs. Home, work from home jobs. Home health and hospice jobs. Hospitality jobs. Hotel jobs. Hotel sales jobs. Horticulture jobs. Housekeeping jobs. Human resources jobs. Industrial jobs. Internship jobs. Irrigation jobs. IT jobs. Inside sales jobs. Insurance jobs. Internet jobs. Internet marketing jobs. J. Janitor jobs. Jewelry jobs. Journalism jobs. K. Nothing here yet. L. LPN jobs. Lab / laboratory jobs. Landscape jobs. Law jobs, legal jobs. Legal secretary jobs. Light industrial jobs. Lighting jobs. Lineman jobs. Local jobs. Loan processor jobs. Logistics jobs. M. Master's degree jobs. Machinist jobs. Mall jobs. Maintenance jobs. Management jobs. Manufacturing jobs. Marketing jobs. Marketing director jobs. Mechanic jobs. Mechanical engineer jobs. Medical assistant jobs. Media jobs. Medical device jobs. Medicine jobs. Meeting industry jobs. Merchandising jobs. N. Network engineer jobs. Night shift jobs. Non-profit jobs. Nursery jobs. Nurse jobs. Nurse LPN jobs. Nurse RN jobs. Nurse, registered nurse jobs. Nursing assistant jobs. Nurse, home health jobs. O. Office manager jobs. Oil and gas jobs. Optometry and eye care jobs. Orthodontic jobs. Overseas jobs. P. Packaging jobs. Painter jobs. Paralegal jobs. Part-time jobs. Party planner jobs. Payroll jobs. Pest control jobs. Pest management jobs. Pharmaceutical industry jobs. Pharmaceutical sales jobs. Photo / photography jobs. Physician jobs. Pizza delivery jobs. Plastics industry jobs. Plumbing jobs. Pricing jobs. Printing jobs. Public relations PR jobs. Product manager jobs. Property management jobs. Purchasing manager jobs. Q. Quality assurance jobs. R. RN jobs. Radar jobs. Radiology, X-ray jobs. Radiology, CAT scan jobs. Real estate jobs. Reception jobs. Recruiter jobs. Renewable energy jobs. RDH, registered dental hygienist jobs. Rental jobs. Research jobs. Respiratory jobs. Restaurant jobs. Retail jobs. Retail clothing jobs. Retail manager jobs. Robotics jobs. Roofing jobs. Route sales jobs. S. Safety jobs. Sales jobs. Sales, inside sales jobs. Sales, tech sales jobs. Sales manager jobs. Sarbanes-Oxley jobs. SAS jobs. Second shift jobs. Satellite jobs. School district jobs. School bus driver jobs. Secret jobs. USA security clearance jobs. Security guard jobs. Security systems jobs. Securities jobs. Semiconductor jobs. Senior citizen jobs. Skilled trade jobs. Skilled worker jobs. Social worker jobs. Software jobs. Solar jobs. Spanish-speaking jobs. Sports jobs. Stay-home jobs. Staff accountant jobs. Steel industry jobs. Store manager jobs. Storm jobs. Systems analyst jobs. Stylist jobs. Summer jobs. Supermarket jobs. T. Tech sales jobs. 3D print jobs. Teaching jobs. Telecom jobs. Telecommute jobs. Telemarketing jobs. Temp jobs. Theme park jobs. Third shift jobs. Tobacco industry jobs. Transportation jobs. Travel industry jobs. Tree care jobs. Turf jobs. Trabajo USA jobs. Trucking jobs/trucker. U. Unix jobs. Utility industry jobs. V. Visual basic jobs. US. Veteran jobs. Veterinarian jobs. Veterinary technician jobs. Video jobs. Volunteer jobs. W. Warehouse jobs. Waste industry jobs. Water park jobs. Welder jobs. Wholesale jobs. Wind jobs. Wine jobs. Wireless jobs. Wireless sales jobs. Work from home jobs. X. X-ray jobs. XMOS jobs. Z. Zoo jobs. thebalance-careers.com/top-niche-job-sites-20618666. Indeed.com. ZipRecruiter.com. AllRetailJobs.com. Startup jobs. Angel.co. Architecture jobs. Archinek.com. Recent graduates. collegegrad.com. constructionjobs.com. Seasonal jobs. coolworks.com. efinancialcareers.com. energy jobs. energyjobline.com. remote jobs. flexjobs.com. freelancer.com. healthcarejobsite.com. journalismjobs.com. education jobs. k12jobspot.com. nonprofit work. idealist.org/n. political jobs. politicaljobhunt.com. salesjobs.com. hourly jobs. snagajob.com. tech jobs. stackoverflow.com/jobs. executive jobs. theladders.com. creative jobs. WorkingNotworking.com. A cool list of job websites from an HRM manual. 123test.com/cognitive-ability-test. 123test.com offers a large variety of psychometric tests. 4cnas.com, we provide information to those looking for a career as a nursing assistant. Academicinfo.net, an online education resource center with extensive subject guides and distance learning information. allnursejobdescriptions.com, platform that offers detailed information about nurses and various nursing careers. allstarjobs.com, recruiters and employment agencies can post jobs for free to our human-edited job board, browse resumes, interact with job seekers and get listed in our employer directory. allstarjobs.com, recruiters and employment agencies can post jobs for free to our human-edited job board, browse resumes, interact with job seekers and get listed in our employer directory. americasjobexchange.com, find jobs and post your resume. aquaculturetalent.com, Aquaculture Talent is a leading job board for global aquaculture industry. arielelly.com.au, resume writing services by a HR professional with 10 years experience. I know what recruiters and HR managers want to see on your resume because I used to be one of them. iatravelnursingjobs.com, the source for travel nurses cleared connections. beaconcareermanagement.com, searching for a new position. beacongroupllc.com, career resources for people who are searching for their first job, or who have been in the workforce and are looking to take the next step in their career. bestjobsusa.com, free resume posting service. bestjobsusa.com, fee-based job posting service. blog.skillsuccess.com, an online resource composed of informative blog articles, as well as comprehensive career guides that empower every person with the ability to develop their skills and attain their dream career. careerbliss.com, we began with one mission in mind, to help people find joy in life through happiness in the workplace. careerjet.com, an employment search engine for the United States. careerxroads.com, a reference guide to the 500 best job, resume and career management sites. chilijobs.com, welcome to chilijobs.com. clearcutselection.com, Clearcut Selection can help you get the job you want. Our interview coaching services are proven to successfully develop communication skills, confidence, and credibility in a job interview. clearedconnections.com, security clearance jobs, intelligence, federal government, homeland security, government jobs. cnabuzz.com, we provide inclusive guidance to those who are looking forward to pursue a rewarding career as a certified nursing assistant. colorado.jobing.com, dedicated to the Colorado market. competitivegerecruiting.com, full-service recruiting in finance and accounting, human resources and talent acquisition and manufacturing. computerwork.com. computerwork.com/a/n/IT-jobs, computer jobs and technical employment in the US and Canada. Submit your resume to a premier computer professional career job center for IT/IS computer programming professionals, including programmers, DBAs, analysts, network. continuiti.com, devoted exclusively to the placement of professional human resource staff in contract assignments with companies across the United States. We can quickly and expertly fill your temporary human resources staffing needs for skilled professionals possessing a generalist, recruiting, compensation, benefits, HRIS, training or organizational development background. CreativeKeystrokes.com, established in 1976, firm provides executive resume and related document writing, interview tips, career resources, and distribution services exclusively to executives and senior managers. DFWHRLLC.com, staffing human resource professionals temporary agency and permanent placement employment firm, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. FamilyNursePractitioners.org. eJobSiteSoftware.com, epub software is a web-based application built on PHP/MySQL/Linux platform that enables you to quickly deploy a fully functional advanced job board. EmploymentGuide.com, looking for a professional, technical, or managerial job? Here you'll find thousands of listings for high-paying, interesting positions with companies that you want to work for. And-us.gigajob.com, find latest jobs in USA at Gigajob USA. ERE.net, free resources for recruiters, including a professional forum for discussion about recruiting and the internet. FamilyNursePractitioners.org/program/online-FNP-programs, search for online FNP programs. GRUS International Construction Staffing and Construction Personnel, Construction Workers, Skilled Workers, Construction Staffing Agency, Electrician Staffing, Plumber Staffing. Firescience.org/paramedic-training-and-degree-programs-online, Fire Science online career and education guides focused on public service and safety careers including firefighting, law enforcement, forestry, and paramedics to name a few. FrontlineZourcegroup.com, staffing temporary agency and employment permanent placement company based in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Geoglosser.com, a new job search website that uses advanced geolocation technology to find the closest employment opportunities to your location. GoJobs.com, the GoJobs recruiting network trademark, an electronic job distribution system, allowing our clients to enter their jobs once, letting GoJobs electronically manage their jobs on almost every major job board, including the GoJobs job board. GrayCampus.com/OpenCampus, OpenCampus is one of the largest resource library on professional certifications. GRUSpersonnel.com, GRUS Construction Staffing and Personnel is your online source for the finest skilled workers. Browse our jobs online, apply online, get hired by GRUS Construction Personnel home healthcare agencies. HLoom.com/resume/builder, find the best resume builder with HLoom's Resume Builder comparison tool. HomeHealthCareAgencies.com/jobs, certified nursing assistants, also called CNAs, are instrumental caregivers in the healthcare industry. ICCWeb.com, nationwide job listings, candidate resumes and federal and state employment listings. Indeed.com, job application center. INVOcompanies.com/join-r-team/career-opportunities, job search pages for therapy professionals, including occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech-language pathology, and more. Job-applications.com, find hundreds of online applications and printable job forms. Jobapplicationsonline.com. JobaPPLKTIOnCenter.com, a free online resource helping individuals find specific information and advice on how to apply online and offline to every major company in the U.S. JobaPPLKTIOnCenter.com, this is not your typical job search site. JobApplicationsOnline.com, find out what it takes to complete the online application process. JobBankCanada.com, with JobBankCanada.com employers can post job openings for free and job seekers can post their resumes for free and make them available to employers across Canada. JobBankCanada.com, with JobBankCanada.com employers can post job openings for free and job seekers can post their resumes for free and make them available to employers across Canada. JobMark.com, create your own job site. Jobs.worldwiderc.org, the Worldwide ERC Registered Career Center is the premier job board for the global workforce mobility industry. JobsInCanada.com, use JobsInCanada.com's directory for quick and easy access to all of Canada's best job sites, employment recruiters, and direct employers. Jobs in Canada also links to self-employment opportunities and Canadian business opportunities as well as Canadian living sites and Canadian immigration services ideal for those moving to Canada. KellyServices.com, features a state-of-the-art job search engine, Kelly Career Network. Latpro.com/c, the leading online career resource for Spanish and Portuguese-speaking professionals throughout the Americas. Lawconsultants.co.uk, Our consultants consist of qualified recruiters within the legal sector, giving us the experience and industry knowledge to recognize what matters most to our clients and candidates. LocateJobsNetwork.com. Locate Jobs Network is a nationwide network of niche job boards that features free job search for candidates and job posting options for employers, recruiters, and recruitment advertising agencies. MatchTech.com. MatchTech is a leading provider of engineering jobs and recruitment services across UK. Monster.com. Post jobs, scan resumes. MountainJobs.com. Full-time and seasonal careers in ski towns across the US. Mustakabil.com, a jobs website that mainly targets the Pakistani jobs market. MyJobApps.com, website that focuses on job application downloads, salaries, and open positions for service, retail and restaurant sector companies in your local area. MyPerfectResume.com, My Perfect Resume takes the hassle out of resume writing. naceweb.org/job-market/trends-and-predictions, links to career and job-related sites. Net-temps.com, a job posting board with contract, temporary and permanent positions. Job seekers can use their personal desktop to post their resumes so hundreds of companies can view their qualifications. Net-temps.com, a job posting board with contract, temporary and permanent positions. Job seekers can use their personal desktop to post their resumes so hundreds of companies can view their qualifications. NewYorkJobs.com, connecting job seekers with employers in New York, New England and the tri-state area. NewJerseyJobMarket.com, New Jersey Job Market is the premier employment career job board portal site for jobs and resumes in the state of New Jersey. NursePortal.net, nursing jobs, blogs, and forums. NurseRecruiter.com, thousands of nursing jobs throughout the U.S. OnlineMBA.com/rankings, an innovative website that has put together a business education curriculum composed entirely of blog posts from leading business, economics, and finance professionals and professors. OnlineRecruitersDirectory.com, Recruiters Directory, a comprehensive, nationwide recruiters directory. The visitor can search for recruiters and headhunters by location, specialty, or by other various criteria. OnlineRN2MSN.com, search the top RN2MSN programs online for 2018 operative hire. OnRec.com, OnRec.com is the best news source for online recruitment information open campus. OperativeHire.co.uk, construction car job website, search for CSCS, CPCS, CISRS, CCDO jobs online in the UK. PracticeReasoningTests.com/psychometric-tests, PracticeReasoningTests.com is a free resource to help job seekers improve their performance at employer reasoning tests. ProfessionalResumeWriters.com, an organization that provides helpful tips for people who are looking for jobs and changing careers. Pure-Jobs.com, international job search site and expert career advice. Recruit.net. RecruitersOnline.com, top CNA classes. RedSealRecruiting.com, Red Seal Recruiting is a BC Canada-based recruiter of skilled tradespeople for manufacturing and construction firms. ResumeByCPRW.com, provides assistance with resumes. ResumeWonders.com, certified professional proven with extensive experience writing for all stages of a client's career and assisting in various services including resumes, cover letters, coaching, assessments, web resumes, posting, distribution, bios and more. RNVIP.com, RNVIP is a travel nursing agency that saves you time when researching and applying to the travel nurse companies of your choice, all with just one easy application. SimplyHRJobs.co.uk, Simply HR Jobs is one of the UK's leading job boards in the HR industry. Talentoday.com/n, Talent Today provides powerful scientific-based and effective career guidance solutions to help identify an individual's unique assets, strengths, and motivation leading to a more fulfilling and successful career. TheMacGroup.com, The mission of the EMAC Group is to solve your staffing problems by serving as a cost-efficient human resource alternative. TheJobSauce.com, informative articles, free resources, and paid services for job seekers. From resume services to salary negotiation, The Job Sauce's experts guide job seekers to land their dream job. TheLadders.com/career-advice, browse through hundreds of career advice articles including resume writing and interviewing advice. TopCNAclasses.com, TopCNAclasses.com is specifically developed to assist nurse aid students to gain complete knowledge on CNA training, free classes, certification, jobs, exam, and nurse aid salary. TopNurse.info, we can help you find your desired CNA programs near you. TopNursing.org, offers detailed information about nursing schools. TopOccupationalTherapySchool.com, Top OT is based on occupational therapy schools. TravelNurseGateway.com, travel nursing agency that saves you time when researching and applying to the travel nurse companies of your choice, all with just one easy application. TravelNurseSource.com, as a leader in travel nurse placement industry, Travel Nurse Source is dedicated to working with only the top travel nurse companies in the industry, assuring you that you have access to the best travel nurse jobs available, excellent pay and tremendous incentives. USA.recruit.net, our site is popular with job seekers and is a very valuable resource for anyone looking for employment in the US. USAjob.gov, Vault.com. Vault.com, career resources and message boards for various employers. VelocityResourceGroup.com, Velocity Resource Group is the world's leading resume sourcing organization. WorldAtWork.org, professional association for compensation, benefits, and total rewards. Look for the link to job links, ZipRecruiter. WSJ.com/public/page/news-career-jobs.html, career advice, find a job. ZipRecruiter blog. YesWriting.com/job-success-blog, a career services blog with tips on how to write your best resume or cover letter, networking skills, or anything relating to the job search. ZipRecruiter.com, connecting job seekers with employers. ZipRecruiter.com/blog, information on different types of jobs and job seeking. Chapter 2. A niche job website guide to niche job websites at themuse.com/advice/the-one-7-best-niche-job-search-web-sites-to-help-you-cut-through-all-the-cl-utter. themuse.com/advice/exploring-careers. themuse.com/advice/finance. themuse.com/advice/marketing. themuse.com/advice/sales. themuse.com/advice/software-engineering. Business. eFinancialCareers.com. Health. Healthcarejobsite.com. Tech. Engineering.com/jobs. iCrunchData.com. News.ycominator.com/jobs. itjobpro.com. Sales. Salesgravy.com/job board. talentzoo.com. Architecture. archinek.com. constructionjobs.com. Teacher. teachers-teachers.com. Media. journalismjobs.com. mediabistro.com. political/activist. politicaljobhunt.com. idealist.org. Hospitality. hoteleriejobs.com/n. Find jobs by field at zipia.com/jobs. zipia.com/architecture-and-engineering-industry. zipia.com/arts-entertainment-sports-and-media-industry. zipia.com/building-and-grounds-maintenance-industry. zipia.com/business-and-financial-industry. zipia.com/community-and-social-services-industry. zipia.com/computer-and-mathematical-industry. zipia.com/construction-and-extraction-industry. zipia.com/education-training-and-library-industry. zipia.com/executive-management-industry. zipia.com/farming-fishing-and-forestry-industry. zipia.com/food-preparation-and-restaurant-industry. zipia.com/healthcare-practitioner-and-technical-industry. zipia.com/healthcare-support-industry. zipia.com/installation-maintenance-and-repair-industry. zipia.com/legal-industry. zipia.com/life-physical-and-social-science-industry. zipia.com/military-industry. zipia.com/office-and-administrative-industry. zipia.com/personal-care-and-attendance-industry. zipia.com/production-and-manufacturing-industry. zipia.com/protective-service-industry. zipia.com/sales-industry. 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 zipia.com/transportation-industry.